implementation of the 13th Amendment minus police and land powers. Now, sir, when you have said that the implementation of the 13th Amendment, which is the provincial councils, and in the case of the Northeast, it is the North and the Eastern provincial councils, one would assume then that in a war-affected area, that at least to the provincial councils, there will be significant allocations. At least to the provincial councils.
පුද්ගලිකයන්ගෙන් ගත්ත හමුදාවේ තිබ්බ ඉඩම් 96ක් දැන්ට දීලා තියෙනවා.
හොඳයි.
ඒ වගේම එත්නික් ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් ගැන කිව්වා. එත්නික් ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් කොහොමද 152ක් දෙමළ ජනතාව සිංහල ජනතාව සමග සිටින්නේ. ඒකින්ද මේ මෙතන ඇවිල්ලා බොරු කියලා මේ ජනතාව නොගැවන්න එපා කියලා මම මෙතුමාට කියා සිටිනවා.
If the members seems to think that he can sort of cheat everybody on those sort of logics, I think you can't get a bigger fool.
කරු මදුරුයි
The president announced that the solution is the implementation of the 13th Amendment. Implementation of the 13th Amendment minus police and land powers. Now, sir, when you have said that the implementation of the 13th Amendment, which is the provincial councils, and in the case of the Northeast, it is the North and the Eastern provincial councils, one would assume then that in a war-affected area, that at least to the provincial councils, there will be significant allocations. At least to the provincial councils. But for the northern provincial councils, which is the most war-affected area, only 1% has been allocated, and to the eastern province, 1.17% of all the allocations. The northern province, honorable presiding member, is one before the last in the allocations. Uva is, I think, the last. So even when the president says that the ethnic problem is going to be resolved through the provincial councils, 13th Amendment, his allocations for war-affected, unlike all other areas, a war-affected area is one of the least that he has made. One of the least he has made. And then, of course, we have to also understand whether in fact these allocations are going to be true. Honorable presiding member, you are aware that Fitch, that downgraded Sri Lanka 2 years ago, which now we all know has been an accurate downgrading because of the situation the country is facing. After this budget came out, has said this, has voiced concern over the government's fiscal targets as being ambitious, challenging to meet, and having a high degree of risk in implementation. So under these circumstances, when the budgetary proposals are seen as ambitious, even these meager allocations for the Northeast in reality will most likely never be implemented. So that is the situation in which we find ourselves. I will obviously, under the committee stage, under each ministry, I will be dealing much more in detail in elaborating the complete discrimination that has been meted out to the Northeast, particularly the Tamil people, and for those reasons and much more, we will be voting against this budget.
ගරු නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායකතුමනි, පොඩි පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කරන්න ඕනේ. මෙතුමා දැන් කිව්වා යුද්ධෙන් පස්සේ උතුරේ කිසිම development එකක් කළේ නැහැ කියලා. But after the war, there was a tremendous development carried out in the north, whereas the growth rate of North at that time was 22%, where the entire country's growth rate was 7%. And also, he said about the army land of the private people. පුද්ගලිකයන්ගෙන් ගත්ත හමුදාවේ තිබ්බ ඉඩම් 96ක් දැන්ට දීලා තියෙනවා.
හොඳයි.
ඒ වගේම එත්නික් ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් ගැන කිව්වා. එත්නික් ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් කොහොමද 152ක් දෙමළ ජනතාව සිංහල ජනතාව සමග සිටින්නේ. ඒකින්ද මේ මෙතන ඇවිල්ලා බොරු කියලා මේ ජනතාව නොගැවන්න එපා කියලා මම මෙතුමාට කියා සිටිනවා.
I want to reply that. Whatever development that happened during the Rajapaksa era was entirely targeting military reasons. I think we all know that. For the purposes of their military infrastructure, they did spend money in the Northeast. If the members seems to think that he can sort of cheat everybody on those sort of logics, I think you can't get a bigger fool.
කරු මදුරුයි තානගේ මැතිතුමා ඔබතුමාට මිනිත්තු 12ක කාලයක් තියෙනවා.